Welcome to this episode of Ink It Up with Jessica TV. Today I'm going to show you how to make a birthday card using your scraps of patterned paper. So you can see up here I used a number of different patterned paper scraps, it's kind of a tongue twister, to create this cool background. So this is what you're going to do when you have just strips of pretty papers left. Maybe you've made some different projects and you just have little bits and pieces left. All of these pieces that I'm going to use are from the Maritime Designer Series paper pack. So they're all in the same colors, so they're going to coordinate. I have cut them down into different size strips. Some of them were already left in strips of different sizes. They range anywhere from 1 inch to about 3/4 of an inch to about 1/2 an inch. So I have used both sides on some of them and just one side on the striped one. And you want to kind of set them out before you start taping anything down so that you have a pattern that you like. You also want to make sure that they're long enough to cover all of your base piece. So you'll see underneath here, I do have a base piece, and this is just Whisper White cardstock that I'm using. This is 2 3/4 inches by 5 1/4 inches. So this is going to end up being on the front of my card like this. I like to use some Anywhere glue stick. Any kind of glue stick will work. But the reason I like to use glue stick is that it lets me move around my pieces a little bit more. So I'm just going to start, and I'm not going to put glue stick over the whole piece to start. I'm just going to start with one edge. And then I'm going to start laying down my pieces. I'm actually going to start with a striped piece because I want my stripes to be up and down. So I'm going to use this to kind of go off as for how long I want it to be along there. So then I'm just going to start laying down the other pieces. And let's see. I think I want to see this cute little guy here, so I'm going to go down this way farther. But see, I need this to be up over here, so I can't go that far down. This is where the glue stick really helps because you can move things around as you realize you need to. So I want to make sure that both edges of my pattern paper is all the way over my white piece of paper. Okay, and I'm just going to kind of slide that in. And then I'll come and do this one. Again, just kind of butting it right up against, adding more glue stick as you need to. Again, making sure you're getting up over that piece. I'm going to move this one up so we get that cute whale. Just make sure that you're covering this whole entire white base piece. And then once we have all of our pieces glued on, then we'll trim it down to the size of the white base piece. Okay, it looks like I need one more for the corner, and I actually have a piece left over from making this one that I'm just gonna plop right down in the corner there. So you might want to set this aside to dry if you're using glue stick. Just make sure that all your pieces are dry on there. And I found that if you didn't get it glued down real well, it works to take your two-way glue pen and kind of get in any areas where you need it. Because this has a little chiseled tip, it's easier to get in the small areas. So come back in and glue with that if you need to. Then when it's all glued on, you're going to flip it over. And I'm just going to use some scissors. You could also use your paper cutter, but I'm just going to cut right along the white base piece. And that's going to make it the right size for the front of my card. Again, these pieces that you're cutting off, some of them might be big enough to use on another card of this type. Okay, so just going all the way around, making sure the edge of your scissors is right up against that base piece of cardstock, so that this is what the piece is going to look like. So now we're going to go ahead and make this into a card. I have a piece of Coastal Cabana cardstock. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, so this is going to fit perfectly on the front of a card. I'm going to use some snail adhesive. You could use your glue stick again here. And I'm going to put this right to the top of this piece of paper. Make sure my sides are lined up. And then I'm going to put a piece of real red ribbon just to cover the edge of my pattern piece. Gives it a nice defining line. You certainly can leave it just like this if you'd like. Just going to put a little snail in the back. And then I'll tuck the ends around and the snail will just hold it in place. Okay, finally I'm going to add this to a card. I have a piece of Night of Navy cardstock. These are the colors that are in the Designer Series paper, and the back of the Designer Series paper pack will tell you what colors coordinate with that paper. This is 5 1/2 inches by 8 1/2 inches, just half a sheet. And I'm going to go ahead and give that a fold and a crease with the bone folder. Now, this is why I usually have my card ready when I'm putting my ribbon on so that I'm ready to glue it down right away. So I'm just going to add some more snail adhesive to the back of this. And put this on the front of my card. Now for the birthday greeting, I'm using a stamp from the Tag Talk stamp set and my Real Red ink pad. I'm just going to stamp this on some Whisper white paper. And then punch it out with, I believe this is called the bracket label punch. I'm going to hold it upside down so that I can center my stamped image in the punch. Give it a punch. And then to adhere this to the front of the card, I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals. Just one on the top and one on the bottom will hold it in place. And I'll position that right on top of the ribbon. And you can go in the center, you can go to the left. For some reason, I always go to the right. I'm not sure if that's because I'm right-handed or not, but I always like mine off-center a little bit to the right. And there's your card. Because this is on a dark colored cardstock as the card, it's going to be a little harder to read writing on this. So what you might want to do is take a piece of Whisper white cardstock or even a piece of computer paper, cut it down to 4 inches by 5 1/4 inches, and you can stamp something on it if you want, but just adhere that to the inside of your card so that you can write on the lighter color and it'll be easier to read. So I hope that you enjoyed this and will take out some of your pattern paper scraps and give this type of card a try.